Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to quietly step back and observe a fundamental shift in the very structure of human connection. Now, we're not here to offer quick self-help fixes or tell you to delete all your social media apps. Instead, we're diving into a deeply philosophical, structural observation from a framework known as reflective humanism. We're going to explore exactly why, in a world where we're more connected than ever before, that connection suddenly feels so incredibly heavy. So let's gently dive into this. Modern people are constantly connected, but connection no longer feels light. I mean, think about your own day for a second. The constant hum of accessibility. We are just swimming in the sea of continuous contact, and yet, the actual feeling of just casually, lightly interacting with someone seems to have pretty much vanished. If you've been feeling this persistent, quiet exhaustion deep in your bones, I want you to know it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because the very nature of what it means to connect has shifted right beneath our feet. We usually think of these things as just digital tools or basic social actions, right? Messages, notifications, AI interactions, the pressure of expectations, the need for belonging, the urgency of replies. But here's the absolutely crucial point. We aren't just managing tools anymore. We are unconsciously managing the heavy gravity of connection itself. Every single ping is a tiny anchor. Every read receipt is a subtle, invisible tether just pulling at us. Part 1. The gravity of connection. From communication to orbit. To truly understand what we're going through, we really need to translate the intangible pressure of modern socializing into a physical metaphor. Connection is no longer just communication. It increasingly behaves like gravity, something that changes each other's orbit. Just think about that. In the past, you communicated and then you went back to your own separate trajectory. But now, constant availability means we're basically always in each other's gravitational pull. We're constantly altering the trajectory of our daily lives just to accommodate the sheer mass of being tethered to everyone all the time. And because of this gravity, something kind of tragic happens to our natural human traits. Things like kindness, synchronization, expectations, emotional care, belonging. These used to be organic, spontaneous expressions. But under constant gravity, they harden into continuously managed states. You aren't just being kind anymore. You're actively managing your kindness output so you don't disrupt the orbit. You are constantly regulating your temperature and your boundaries in real time. It practically becomes a structural chore. Part 2. Gravitational fixation, the hardening of relationships. Let's actually trace how highly synchronized societies trap us in these rigid structures. It starts so simply, with contact. But because of the tools we use, that contact almost immediately breeds expectation. And expectation demands synchronization. You must respond. You have to be on the same page. Over time, that synchronization hardens into rigid roles. And finally, we reach fixation. A totally simple point of contact inevitably hardens into a fixed, inescapable role. The relationship solidifies. It just loses all its air. And honestly, here is the real tragic irony of our hyper-connected era. By being constantly connected, we have completely lost the ability to simply step away without causing friction. We can no longer disappear lightly. We can't remain silent lightly. We can't even just say, "see you later" lightly. Every exit, every pause is now read as a deliberate withdrawal, an offense, or a total severing of the tie. We're essentially trapped in the gravity we built. Part 3. Connection fatigue, shifting the paradigm of exhaustion. We really need to reframe how we view our modern burnout. It is not a personal failure, it's a structural condition. We so often blame information fatigue, the idea that we're just overwhelmed by too much data, too many emails, too much news. But reflective humanism argues that the deeper issue is actually gravitational management fatigue. You are exhausted because you're overwhelmed by constantly regulating boundaries, attention, and belonging in real time. You are continuously fighting the structural gravity of a highly synchronized world. So your exhaustion is profoundly valid. Part 4. What we are losing, the disappearance of social space. So, if we are trapped in this heavy gravity, what exactly is the casualty here? What is truly disappearing? Is it the relationships themselves? Well, no, the relationships aren't vanishing. It's more like what's disappearing is fluidity. That's the ability to just leave, return, pause, and reconnect without causing severe damage to the relationship. Think of it as a low-damage phase operation. Because we've lost this fluidity, every pause is now treated as a rupture. If you don't reply immediately, the relationship feels damaged. We've kind of lost the quiet, spacious architecture of simply waiting. Part 5. The power of reconnectability, opening the future. But listen, there is a quiet alternative to all this forced synchronization. It's a way to totally redefine our understanding of hope in relationships. See, traditional hope assumes that tomorrow exists and the relationship is fully fixed and secure, like a guaranteed outcome. But reconnectability offers something much more profound: the feeling that tomorrow is still slightly open. It's a future where silence is survivable, a future where people might simply speak again later, without the pressure of constant heavy maintenance. It's a future that isn't fully closed. Reflective humanism proposes this really fascinating concept called light gravity. It suggests that a healthy connection isn't necessarily a weak one. It is a light one. It is not forcing. It is not fixing. And it is not closing the future. It's a non-interfering ethics where we can actually remain connected without turning that connection into a sort of imprisonment. We allow each other the space to exist, to pause, and to simply be, without severing the tie. And so, as we look at the trajectory of our highly synchronized civilization, we are left to observe this one final question. Do humans truly need stronger, tighter, ever more constant bonds? Or do we desperately need relationships where tomorrow still feels slightly open? Relationships where we can breathe, where we can pause, and where returning is always a gentle possibility. We really don't need to sever the tie entirely. Sometimes we just need the grace and the space to simply say, see you later.